Hi, this is Stuart Talley. Here today for another update on the ongoing Pinnacle Metal on Metal trial that's currently happening in Dallas, Texas. First of all, I wanted to thank everybody for the nice comments that we've received from people watching these videos. We've received lots of comments, and I appreciate that. One thing I wanted to mention is that it's important to understand we're not providing an update every single day of every single witness. What we're trying to do is provide highlights. So whenever there's an important witness or a significant witness who testifies, we try to do an update, and we're trying to do them as often as we can. So today I wanted to talk about a witness that the defendants called. We're now 10 weeks into this trial, and the defendants are really putting on their case right now, and it's basically a series of experts, one after another. One of the witnesses they put on is a pathologist named Scott Nelson. And what Scott Nelson does is he's somebody who actually works with a microscope in an orthopedic lab and reviews tissue samples. And that's what he does for a living. He looks at tissue samples under a microscope. And as a pathologist, what they can often do is describe, by looking at tissue samples under a microscope, what's causing whatever type of tissue reaction is being observed. And not surprisingly, Dr. Nelson looked at tissue samples from the 5 plaintiffs, from tissue that was taken out during a revision surgery, and in his opinion, none of them had a reaction to the metal wear debris from their hips. There's only one exception to that. One of the plaintiffs, he said, did have a reaction to metal wear debris, but that was because the hip was loose, and that was the reason why they had a reaction to the metal wear debris. So again, not DePuy's fault, according to this pathologist. What was interesting is, and we've seen this in some of the other cases, for one of the plaintiffs, the story was that the person the pathology showed a tissue reaction to metal wear debris, but a very small amount of metal wear debris, according to the pathologist. And we've seen this in other cases where what DePuy does is they try to argue that the person has what they call a hypersensitivity reaction to the metal wear debris. And they try to characterize it as almost like an allergic reaction. And the story is that this person is allergic to metal. It's not our fault. There's nothing we could do about that. You know, if somebody's allergic to peanuts, and they get sick, you can't sue the peanut company because they're allergic to peanuts, okay? So that's sort of their story. There's lots of problems with that story, though. And it's sort of, the problem is that so many people are having these reactions to the metal wear debris that it really can't be called an allergy. And on cross-examination, the pathologist admitted that. It's not really an allergy that we're talking about. An allergy would be, people who... if somebody gave you rat poison and you got sick, we wouldn't say you're allergic to rat poison. Your body would react to it in a certain way, but it wouldn't be an allergic reaction. So that's the point that I think is being made on cross-examination of this witness. The other part of his opinion was that one of the plaintiffs had a condition called sarcoidosis, okay? And this is a condition, it's an inflammatory condition, and typically it occurs in organs, your lungs, your heart, and it's caused by granulomas. And this pathologist said that on one of the plaintiffs, he saw a granuloma that was consistent with sarcoidosis. There's lots of problems with that diagnosis, however, and that was brought out abundantly on cross-examination. The plaintiff at issue is 70 years old, and so the pathologist just didn't have one slide of a granule that he says, or a granuloma that he says was sarcoidosis. He went back through the medical records and said, this guy has had it for years, and it comes and goes. And the evidence of that was things like the plaintiff had a headache once. One time he reported night sweats that came and went. Things like that were what the surgeon, or I'm sorry, what the pathologist indicated were signs that he had sarcoidosis. And on cross-examination, I think the plaintiff's attorney did a very good job of basically laying the picture of here's a guy 70 years old, you went through a mountain of records and found a couple ailments that the guy had, and now you're saying he has sarcoidosis. The other thing that I think was the most effective for all plaintiffs is on cross-examination, the plaintiff's attorney pointed out that not one of the treating physicians that treated any of these plaintiffs have the same opinion as this pathologist. All of the treating physicians testified under oath that that what they observed when they were doing revision surgery was consistent with a reaction to metal wear debris. All of them had seen this in other patients, and they saw it in these 5 people. There are numerous doctors that treated all of these 5 people, and not one of them have the same opinion as this pathologist. And I think that's the most effective point that was made on cross-examination. This is a hired gun. He was paid $375,000. He has been funded by DePuy in the past to publish papers, and this is a guy who was hired to basically come up with a diagnosis and say or do anything that would let DePuy off the hook for these 5 people. At least that is the way the plaintiffs are describing this expert. So I think today was a pretty good day for the plaintiffs. They did a good job of discrediting this expert. If you have a DePuy metal and metal hip, or you have any questions, or you want some more information about the trial or how it's going, feel free to give us a call. You can reach us at the phone number on the screen, or you can fill out one of our online forms and a lawyer will get back to you right away.